And welcome back to another episode of The Conversation. I'm New Brad Toe. Conversation talk to different candidates who are going to run for office here. And I'm joined with Cynthia Rivas Mendes. She's running for Ward 5 School Committee. Cynthia, first and foremost, welcome to The Conversation.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
We always call The Conversation Brockton's Breakfast Club. If you're running for office, you got to stop by The Conversation. You got to stop by our podcast and tell the listeners kind of what your platform is. So you're currently on the school committee, and now you're running for Ward 5. Just talk about, for people who don't know you, who is Cynthia Rivas Mendes?
Yes, so I am a mother, I am a wife, and I am an educator. I've been on the school committee for 4 years on the west north side, so Ward 2, and my family and we moved to the east side, so that's why I'm running for Ward 5. Who am I? I'm an educator during the day, so I work at the Boston Public Schools. I was in the classroom for 10 years. Now I am a new teacher developer, so I coach new teachers. I do effective coaching, make sure that we retain. As we know, teaching, the career has changed a lot.
Absolutely.
So the idea is to retain them and to support them throughout their first year and hopefully through their years after as they decide to stay in the classroom for our kids.
Yeah, I think it's so important to have teachers, who are on the school committee. I'm a teacher myself, so it's definitely, it's a rewarding field. But to have someone advocating for you, in that room is huge. Just talk about what's your platform? I mean, what are you looking to accomplish in the next 2 years? Why are you even running for school committee? What do you want to accomplish being on that board?
So I want to accomplish definitely that our students get the highest quality education because if we don't invest in them today, we won't tomorrow, and that's only going to cost us more, right? Students need to internalize, kids need to internalize civic responsibility. So not just me running for school committee, but being the grassroots of our community. We have a lot of community advocates. We have people that Brockton has been changing, right, over the years. So the future and the present of our community is our students. So again, if we don't invest in them, so a lot of times we have to invest in them. How? Giving teachers continuous professional leadership opportunities, but also training them. As we know, the funds right now, investing in them when it comes to resources, the music program, the athletics, the arts. Because as many of us, at least me as a student, what kept me in school was sports. I know a lot of students, what keeps them in sport could be band, could be things that they love, that they feel belonged and in. So definitely I want to do that. A lot of transparency when it comes. I think our systems are very antiquated, so I think we need to advocate to get more systems that are modern. And when I say systems, I'm talking about the way we teach our students too. The world is so fast in regards to technology that we need to be sure that we're with it, right? That our students are getting that education so they're prepared for post-graduation and for life.
Is Brockton at that level that you're speaking about? And, talk about some accomplishments that you've had on the school committee that have gotten closer to where you want to be. Let's talk about your last couple of years.
I think my biggest accomplishment on the school committee has been asking the difficult questions. I think the past 4 years that I've been on, there's a reflection on, I think being on the committee, a lot of times I see a lot of yes, ma'am, yes, sir, and we need fresh perspective. We need to be able, when you challenge somebody, it's not that you don't like that person, right? Mm-hmm. When I agree to disagree, it's because I'm challenging you to think differently, right? And that's what we need in the school committee. We need fresh ideas, fresh perspectives to be able to challenge each other and the system. One of my biggest accomplishments has been creating the diversity, race, equity, and inclusion subcommittee, where the idea is to build the platform to listen and to bring upon families and students part of our decision making. Part of that office. Part of that subcommittee, we were able to develop the Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Office, which we hired the director. There's an office there that they're doing great work. Every year they have a huge conference where educators have given the feedback they've never gotten training that is specified specifically for culturally proficiency. And every year it's gotten better. I know this is going to be the third annual. And that's the idea, right, that we build to improve, but to improve to be better. Other accomplishments that I've had in the school committee, I would say training. So I'm gonna ideally by the end of this term, I want to pass a policy where the school committee people that sit on the seats they take a training which is on equity, being equitable in regards to our policies and our decision making. This training has never happened, right? I believe that if we're going to give this training to teachers, to people in the district, it needs to start top down, and things like that. In regards to other accomplishments, it's so hard to speak about accomplishments because you really have to think through your
Right, right,
resume.
right.
But I think a lot of feedback that I've gotten is my partnerships with communities.
Right.
People feel like, hey, I can go to her, she listens, and she actually makes things happen. And I mean, that's the idea, right? A school district can't run without the partnerships. It can't run just school committee. If the school committee's disconnected from what's going on a daily basis with administrators, with teachers, with staff that are there at the front lines, then there's a disconnect, right? And then most importantly, our families. We need to be able to hear our families. A lot of times we make decisions not knowing what the families want, and that's not the purpose, right? The purpose is to be collaborative, to work in a partnership so we can see each other's perspective. Again, when you have diverse perspective, it just makes things better to move forward.
You know, when you're talking right now, I can literally feel the passion. You know that you're really passionate about the students, passionate about making our school system better, which is really cool. I do want to talk about obviously the big issue is a $14 million deficit that yeah, that's really plagued you guys the last couple of weeks within the media. First of all, I just want you to kind of clear up some myths. I want to give you a platform. Um, what was Is there $14 million missing, or is there a deficit? Can you just clear that up? And what were some safeguards that you think that need to happen now for that won't happen again?
Great question. So it's a deficit. So it's not missing. It's not like somebody took it. So from my understanding, it was overspent. So the budget was overspent. And how was it overspent? I think the audit is going to give more clarity on that. But I do think a lot of why that occurred was because of our antiquated system. If you've seen the school committee, right now we have a line item of where um, each each category is going to and how much of the percentage as of now we have spent until June 2024, which our budget goes. I think our budget goes to June 31st, sorry, 2024. So in regards to that, we are just getting that now. So when we used to ask for it, I am the chair of accounts review. But let me just clarify. When you're the chair of accounts review, I think there's a disconnect city side versus school committee because in our accounts review, we just pass POs. So we just approve POs. But being on the accounts review for 2 years as chair, we always ask ourselves, okay, we're approving these POs, but we got to see the budget, right? I know Tony Rodriguez, Kathy, our vice chair Kathy, they were very much like, okay, how does this connect to this? When I would ask for that information, it wasn't given. So I think our antiquated systems are, we need to be able to make them more modernized, just like you're seeing now that Troy Clarkson's able to give us the item by line, right? Those things are important so we can see, okay, where are we spending and are we on red versus we need to be back on green, right? I think a lot of it is also policies. We need to write policies where right now the CFO reports to the superintendent. So from my understanding, it seems as, when you have that power clash, it's like, oh, so can I go to the school committee? So policies where we have to write where if the superintendent is not listening to your advice as a CFO, yes, you need to come to the school committee because we are the governing body that needs to oversee the whole district to make sure that the district's running and that doesn't happen again. We can't afford for this to happen
Are
again.
those changes going to happen? Are those ideas right now, or those changes that are going to be implemented going forward?
No, we have talked about being implemented as soon as possible. So we should have a policy meeting soon, and we will be talking about these policies happening.
So just to clarify, I think it's confusing just for the common person who maybe is not watching every school committee meeting. For outside looking in, is that the superintendent presents a budget, the school committee approves a budget, and then it gets recommended to the city council, and city council approves it, what have you. So from the outside looking in, is how was that missed? Explain to them how was that process missed of when the superintendent presents the budget, approved by the school committee, sent to the city council, approved to the city council. Outside looking in, those are safeguards. School, superintendent, school committee, city council. Those are a couple safeguards there. Why was what happened within that process?
Where was the
Yeah.
communication? I think from my perspective of a lot of it was certain information was given while certain other information wasn't. You can only review and approve with the information that you're given. When it came to the city side appropriates certain funds that we asked for. So they appropriated the funds that we asked for, but then when the calculations were actually made in regards to the spending, it was more than what we had requested for the budget. So I think a lot of that is who is in power and how much power are we allowing them, right? So it comes to trust. A lot of times in these systems, you have to trust.
Mhm.
If not, you're just micromanaging, right? So unfortunately, we gave too much trust. That's what I do believe. And I think the trust was that we thought the people that were in power at that time were, doing what they had to do, but unfortunately, they weren't reporting everything they had to the school side, and then the school side wasn't able to completely report that to the city side.
You're running against incumbent Judy Sullivan for Ward 5. Why are you the better candidate? Why choose you rather than your opponent?
Again, I think Judy has been for 5 term, 10 years, which is amazing, right? Somebody that's able to commit that much. But I think it's my time. I think great leaders, usually their prime years is around their 30s, and that's the time that I am. I have 2 young boys. Her kids are no longer in the school system. So I can give that fresh perspective of what's needed now. And not to knock her down at all, because I'm all about respecting others.
Hmm.
But her time, unfortunately, her kids are older. They're my age. They're no longer in the system. So her perspective is not going to be as fresh. Also, back to what I was saying, I think a lot of people in politics right now are yes man, yes women, yes sir, yes ma'am. And we don't need that right now. We need to be able to challenge. And I don't think Judy, if you look at her meetings, she doesn't come from a place that she challenges. She comes from a place where she's pretty subtle. And I think we need people to challenge to get those fresh perspectives, and the more diverse that we can be, the better it is to challenge. The best we're going to bring ideas. Research has shows, right, that the best companies run with the diversity, right? If you and I think the same, we're
Right.
not gonna resolve issues. But
Mm.
if we bring different perspective, and I think I bring that to the table. Where I think Judy has been in for 10 years, that not that she's not capable, but she's not bringing it to the table.
Well, listen, make the final pitch. Why should people vote for you? When is the election? Why should people vote for you for school committee? And why should they trust you for another 2 years?
Thank you. So my final pitch is I plan to pave the road by bringing fresh ideas that are powerful and diverse that will help us continue to move forward. When we think of our budget deficit, it's because many of the systems have been antiquated, and for too long we have given too much power to those in power. Every great leader, we usually see them during their prime years. I believe these are my prime years to continue to bring a fresh perspective and one that will challenge and improve the system in every aspect. We want the best for our children because they deserve the best and the highest quality education. They are the present and the future, and if we do not invest in them today, we won't tomorrow, and that will only cost us more. Vote for me, Cynthia Rivas Mendes, on November 7th, 2023, to be the voice Ward 5 needs. Together, we can empower families to advocate for their children. We will encourage all students to unlock their full potential, and we must ensure that every child receives a high quality education. We can, we will, and we must.
Cynthia Rivas Mendes, Ward 5 School Committee, I think is very important. I think one solace we can take, with this deficit issues, everyone's paying attention now. So
Yes.
the numbers need to reflect that. Whether it's going to debates, whether it's, going to the polls, I think it's an opportunity now to take something that might have been negative, turn to a positive, and have more engagement. So I just want to wish you the best of luck. We do want to give you a free copy of IMU, our newest documentary that we produced last year. Our production company is big on giving a voice to the voiceless, and we preach that with our documentaries. In my teachings, is that giving young people a voice to express themselves through video. So the viewers listening right now, if you want to support our documentary, our next documentary, feel free to go to our website, newbieproductions.com, click donate. Anything will help for our next project, and we haven't made the announcement yet, but I guarantee our next project you're going to be very interested in. So that is it for the conversation.
And
New
thank
Bru-
you for having me so
thank
much.
thank you so much for coming on, and wish you the best. So we'll see you guys next time. We're going to have more candidates coming up throughout the day.